So, Liverking is back on the juice. So, as you can guess, today we're talking about the Liverking. As you know, he's been exposed by Derek, more plates, more dates, for being on steroids. The problem with this is he's promoting his supplements and everything and the way he lives, and people are going to think that they can look like him if they are doing what he does. When in reality, he just looks like that because he's on so much drugs. I think he was spending like $12,000 to $15,000 on steroids at one point, like an insane amount, just to give you an idea of the amount of stuff that he was actually on to look like that. But when he was exposed, he came out with some sort of apology / admission video confirming that he was in fact taking steroids, which he harped so heavily on not taking and not ever touching, which is super hypocritical. Right, he just straight up lied about it. Now, personally, I don't necessarily think he's been off. In the video, he said that he was coming off steroids and he's not going to use them anymore and he's going to go 100% natural. Now, I think he might have done that for like 1, maybe 2 months or so, but he just probably hopped right back on. Now, in his most recent video, he is claiming that he went off for like 200 and something days. He was completely off for like 200 something days, and that he had lost 20 pounds of muscle in that time. I personally don't see that. I think he'd have lost a lot more muscle and put on a lot more fat if that was the case, if he was just crashed his hormones and just went off of everything. Plus, this dude already lied about taking steroids the first time. He's probably just lying about either the time that he went off or that he went off at all. So he probably just went off for a little bit, saw that he wasn't doing very good anymore, and just went right back on. He recently had a few videos made about him from Penguin Z0 and Greg Doucette, and that's really, I think, what sparked him to make this most recent video. In their videos, they're talking about how they think he's also still taking stuff and how he also looks pretty rough. Like, if you've seen his more recent videos, he's not looking great. Like, he's looking kind of rough. Like, his just facial hair looks discolored. His face just looks insane. Like, he looks older. He looks older than like he's struggling. But that's what kind of sparked these videos to be made, and that's what sparked him to respond. And in the response, he did say yes, he is back on steroids. He said that in the video, and you can tell he looks shredded. He looks huge still. He doesn't look like he got smaller. He claimed he was peak like 205, and then he got down to 185 and everything. But if that was the case, he probably would have still put on a little fat and lost a little bit of muscle, even if he lost one. And it still doesn't look like it. He still looks insane. He still looks absolutely ridiculous. He's a shorter guy, like 5'6", 5'7" maybe. So that's why you might be thinking 200 pounds doesn't sound like that much. 185 doesn't sound like that much. But he is a lot shorter. So that's why he looks so insane at his height, and he's extremely lean as well. And that adds to his look a lot. No. There's something like every inch of height, it's like 7 pounds difference. Like, if you're like 5'10" and your friend is 5'11", and your friend's 185 pounds and you're 180 pounds and you look bigger than your friend, it's probably because your height, and probably because you're, even if you have the same genetics and same everything, same inserts and everything, you're gonna look different just because your height is, even though you weigh a little bit less, you're actually shorter, so you have more muscle for your frame. So that, usually it's hard to tell when it's so close, but you can really tell when someone's like 5'7" and 200 pounds versus someone that's 6'2" and 200 pounds. There's a huge difference in what they look like. It's insane. Plus, he just has really good genetics and he looks ridiculous. But yeah, he does confirm that he's back on. He also says an interesting thing. He says that the messenger sometimes kills the message, which I think is very true in this case, and he even says that himself. I mean, the whole thing is he's talking about ancestral living and he's talking about being healthy and happy, yet he's on private jets and he's on all these drugs to maintain his physique. It's pretty counterintuitive. It's pretty hypocritical and just counter to what he is saying, and what he's doing are two very different things. I will say that at least he's not denying it anymore. At least he's being a little bit more honest. Now, I think that's because he's kind of forced to, right? I think if he wasn't exposed, he probably still wouldn't have come out and say that he's on this stuff. But at least people now know that this physique isn't attainable and isn't realistic, without doing an insane amount of drugs, right? So at least people aren't gonna buy his shit thinking, oh, I'm gonna look like him by eating fucking testicles and and doing these crazy things, right? Anyway, that's pretty much what's going on with the Liverking and his crazy antics. So hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.